Paul is a person who is continually full of joy because he is being defined every moment of life by Jesus and His grace. What will you do with money? You know that $100 million illustration? I love it when someone was told, you had this little conversation, what would you do if you had $100 million bucks, And I love the truth of that is, what are you doing with the money you have now? What are you doing with it now? What is your relationship to it now? It's defining us right now. Did I tell you guys the story about the preacher that was new into town? He got onto the public transport bus, right? And it was $1, and he gave the bus driver $1. I'm sorry, it was 50 cents, and the bus driver gave him $1. That's what it was. It's 50-cent fare, right? Have I told this before? Anybody? Okay, so you haven't heard it before. So it was 50 cents, but he gave him $1, and the bus driver gave the preacher back 75 cents. And so the preacher went back down, sat in his seat, and he goes, well, he gave me back too much change. Huh. At that moment, it's a defining moment. Do you just keep the 75 cents? Don't worry about it. Hey, sucker. It's your fault. And walk off the bus? The preacher was thinking about that. We all think about that. And on his way out of the bus, he goes, hey, you gave me a quarter too much. Bus driver said, I know. I did that on purpose. I saw your picture in the paper. You're a new preacher in town. I want to see how honest you are. Huh? Preacher got off the bus. And he broke down. He said, I almost defined who I was by a quarter. Now, I told the other story too, but I'm not going to tell it again because my wife said, don't tell it, Tom. So I can't tell it. I won't tell it. I want to tell it, but I'm not going to tell it. If you want to know the other story, see me. Because it's all about the price, folks. Whether it's a quarter or $250,000, whether it's a car, whether it's a house, properties, what is defining who we are? It's just a difference in price. Physical things. Do you know you can really express love through physical things? Jesus, He showed His love for us by laying down His life, His body. Look what John says about this. In 1 John 3:16, he says, this is how we know what love is. Jesus laid down His life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. Well, I know all of you out here, you're not in any hurry, or you're not going to even have an opportunity to go and put your body, your physical body, on a cross and die, or to run into a burning building and grab a baby and you die and you save the baby, or whatever. But God doesn't call us to that, everybody, but He does call all of us to lay down our lives. We have so many defining moments every single day to lay down your life. Here's a practical example in regards to these material things. He goes on in verse 17, if anyone has material possessions and sees his brother or sister in need, but has no pity on him, how can the love of God be in him? Do you see what he's saying? You got some stuff, money, things. You see somebody who needs help, and you got extra, and you're like, I don't see it. I'm not doing anything about it. Where's the love of God in you? It's a defining moment. He goes on to say, well, I'll read that in the next one, though. But things. What is our relationship to things? And the next thing is our actions. Our priorities of actions. In the song, it says, I will live, I will die. For what? For the cause set before me. Priorities of our actions define us, folks. Look at the Apostle Paul. Our daily actions. Paul says, for me to live is Jesus Christ or to die. He's got that little argument thing going on there with himself. He says, I could stay here and it's going to, I'm going to have a lot of work taking care of you, helping you grow and become more joyful. Or, I go be with Jesus. That's going to be better over here. Stay with you? I need to do that. But he says this thing, what am I going to choose? I don't know. That's a terrible translation. And it was brought out in our sermon prep on Tuesday. Doesn't that sound a little crazy? I mean, did Paul really have a choice? Was he sitting there like, okay, let's see. Do I live? No, I think I just go die. That's kind of how the NIV puts it. That's not what he's saying here. He's pondering his destiny, whether he dies by the hand of the Roman government because of his faith in Jesus Christ, or he's going to go on continuing to work in this life. Basically, what he's really saying is not for me to choose that. I've got to leave this up to God who's going to make that choice. But either way, it's going to be fine. Does that make sense? And so our daily actions define who we are. They're defining moments. I had a defining moment yesterday. I tell you, it was interesting. I share with you a little bit of levity and a little bit about me. You see Russ is wearing one of these shirts right here. He and I ran this race yesterday. It was great. It was great, family time. We went to Dearborn. It's beautiful. We ran a 6-mile race. It was great. Every time when I get in a race like that, I usually pick somebody out early in the race. It's kind of a goal setting thing for me. And so there was this, and I'm running. I hadn't gone maybe a quarter mile, and there was this about 65-year-old lady, and she comes by me, like that. And I was like, oh yeah, My goal is I got to beat that old lady, And so, anyhow, I started pacing up with her, and then I got in the hills, and next thing you know, I don't see her. I'm like, yeah, I'm beating grandma, And so, anyhow, I get down to about mile 5. Get down to mile 5, and I'm feeling pretty good, My legs are a little bit weak from the hills and stuff, but I'm doing pretty good. And all of a sudden, here comes grandma with her ponytail again. It's like, whoa, where did you come from? It's like, so I have to dig a little deeper again. So I'm getting past grandma again, feeling good. I'm on the last quarter mile, and I'm about, a couple hundred yards away. And sure enough, here comes grandma again. It's like, no way. And so I'm digging in, boy, and I just sprinted as hard as I could, and I made it to the end. And I about threw up. I'm not joking. I about threw up, but I beat grandma, And so, it was a defining moment for me. Based upon the actions I was taking. And by the way, I was so proud of that lady. I'm telling you what. I hope and pray I can even, run out to the mailbox and back at 65. She was awesome. And it was a great incentive for me. And so our daily actions, everything that we do at any point in time, it will define who we are. And so what on earth are you doing for heaven's sake? What on earth are you doing for heaven's sake? What will you do with the time that you have on this blue ball, this blue marble that we call earth? It'll go by so quick. What are you doing? What are the priorities of your actions? How much is it self-serving that we do? The actions that we take. That they define us as being, and this is a church. Does it define us as self-serving? Do we do just stuff for ourselves? How much of it is for the Lord? That's where I bring in the verse 18 in 1 John. He says, "Dear children, let us not love with words or tongue, but with actions and in truth." Think about the song that we were singing. Or they were singing. Plus, Jeff had some beautiful songs that fit in with this. There comes a time in every heart, a time of real decision, when we reach the point of choosing how we will live our lives. All our hopes, all our dreams will rise up from the moment we surrender and choose to follow Christ. He's been waiting all our lives to hear us say, "I am yours, Lord, take my hand and lead the way." Have you ever had, I don't know whether it's at work or in a social setting, a family setting, but you've had this feeling that I need to share Jesus with this person. I need to tell this person about Jesus Christ, and that this Jesus who came, He lived, He taught, He died, He rose again. That faith in Him, when you put your faith in Him, that He will give you hope for eternal life and also bless your life and define who you are today. And have you felt that way?